Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtaki. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu
Jagatapati Gopisa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta
Namostute
Namaste Panchana Radha
Hari Rishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shanyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasade Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 3 Chapter 5 Text 39. Deva Ucca Namamate Deva Padaravindam Tapannatapo Pasha Matpattaram Yanmulaketa Yatayo Anjasuru Samsara Dukkham Bahir Utshipanti. The demigod said, O Lord, your lotus feet are like an umbrella for the surrendered souls, protecting them from all the miseries of material existence. All the sages under that shelter throw off all material miseries. We therefore offer our respectful obeisances unto your lotus feet. So yesterday we heard that how the demigods were created, the demigods who control the different elements. But they did not have their creative power as yet. They didn't know what to do. So they were praying to the Supreme Lord. There are many sages and saints who engage in trying to conquer rebirth and all other material miseries. But of all of them, those who take shelter under the lotus feet of the Lord can completely throw off all such miseries without difficulty. Others who are engaged in transcendental activities in different ways cannot do so. For them, it is very difficult. They may artificially think of becoming liberated without accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, but that is not possible. One is sure to fall again to material existence from such false liberation, even though one may have undergone severe penances and austerities. So, the demigods here, they are praying to the Lord they are saying, now what is the lotus feet of the Lord? They're calling it an umbrella. We have, in this material world, we are facing one misery after another. And it's called like a forest fire, forest fire. The material world is compared to forest fire. Nobody starts a forest fire, but it's still just the forest fire starts by the action of the wind and the rubbing of the trees. So like that, miseries, we don't go looking for them. They just come. But the lotus feet of the Lord, they're like the umbrella that shower cooling rains, which can save us from these miseries. They give us relief from the miseries of this material existence. And then the demigods are also saying that it's only the sages who take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna can actually have a permanent solution to the material miseries. So we might think, why I don't need to take my shelter of lotus feet of Krishna. I can go another path. I can go the path of knowledge. I can go to the path of yoga. I can have gain the mystic siddhis, or I can gain a lot of gyan, the distinction between matter and spirit. But all that is just a temporary situation. It is clearly stated that one is sure to fall again to material existence from such false liberation, even though one may have undergone severe penances and austerities. So what does that mean? That means if we want to actually make a permanent solution, if we actually want liberation, there is no way but to take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. Until the time we don't come to that point, we will continue to remain in the material existence, no matter how elevated or advanced we have become, no matter how pure we have become as a soul, become self-realized. But till the time we don't take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, all that situation is a temporary situation. So it's our choice whether we want to do it in this life, we want to do it in the next life, we want to do it after thousands of lives. The choice is ours. But the only way to get out of this material world, the only way to get liberated is to take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. This is the opinion of the demigods, who are not only well versed in Vedic knowledge, but are also seers of the past, present, and future. The opinions of the demigods are valuable because the demigods are authorized to hold positions in the affairs of universal management. They are appointed by the Lord as his confidential servants. So the decision of the demigods, the opinion of the demigods is valuable because they are empowered. They are not ordinary living entities like us. They are very highly qualified. They can see, some of them can see the past, present, future. They're very, very powerful. Like we cannot compare a cleaner in a big company to the managing director, the CEO, the CFO of the big company. It's very different. The capability, the responsibility is different. And so somebody would really value the opinion. If we need an opinion on finance, we would value the opinion of the CFO of a company. So that's what's being said here. Reading on. Were there any questions or comments on that verse?
No.
Okay. Text 40. Tatar yadasmin bhava isha jivas tapatrayena vihatta na sharma atman labante bhagavam stavangri chayam savidyam ata ashrayam shayema. O Father, O Lord, O Personality of Godhead, the living entities in the material world can never have any happiness because they are overwhelmed by the three kinds of miseries. Therefore, they take shelter of the shade of your lotus feet which are full of knowledge, and we also thus take shelter of them. Does anybody remember what are the three kinds of miseries?
Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, and I always forget the third one. Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, and Adhyatmik.
Yeah.
No.
Yes. But what does it mean?
So the one is that we get the miseries from our own body, like we get the diseases that we have. Then the one that we get from the nature, like the earthquakes or floods or any kind of natural disasters. And then the third one is that we get from the other beings.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you. So the first one is from our own body and also mind, because sometimes we might not suffer physical disease, but we have so much mental anxiety, fear, so many of the mental miseries. So at each moment, each and every living entity, from the ant up to Lord Brahma, is undergoing either one of these miseries, one or more. Can we imagine? And we are trying to find happiness in this material world. So the way of devotional service is neither sentimental nor mundane. It is the path of reality by which the living entity can attain the transcendental happiness of being freed from the three kinds of material miseries. Miseries arising from the body and mind, from the other living entities, and from natural disturbances. Everyone who is conditioned by material existence, whether he be a man or beast or demigod or bird, must suffer from adhyatmika, bodily or mental pains, adhibhautika pains, those offered by living creatures, and adhidaivika pains, those due to supernatural disturbances. His happiness is nothing but a hard struggle to get free from the miseries of conditional life. But there is only one way he can be rescued, and that is by accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we always try to think, because we have either of these miseries at any time. And then as soon as we try to make a solution to one of the miseries, so we get a temporary relief. And in that we find, I'm so happy now. But we don't realize that another misery is already there. But just because we got relief from one of the misery, we feel, I'm so happy. But the true happiness we can get only when we surrender to Krishna. When we start turning our face towards Krishna. The argument that unless one has proper knowledge, one cannot be freed from material miseries is undoubtedly true. But because the lotus feet of the Lord are full of transcendental knowledge, acceptance of his lotus feet completes that necessity. We have already discussed this point in the first canto, 1.2.7. Vasudeve Bhagavate Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janyati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yad Ahaitukam. There is no want of knowledge in the devotional service of Vasudeva, the personality of Godhead. He, the Lord, personally takes charge of dissipating the darkness of ignorance from the heart of a devotee. So one might say that, you need to get knowledge in order to understand the transcendental nature. We need to have knowledge to understand what's the supreme absolute truth. We need to understand, we need to have knowledge to be self-realized, to understand what's our real position. But because all knowledge comes from Krishna, he's the one who's giving all the knowledge to us. So if we just take shelter at his lotus feet, we surrender to him, automatically all the knowledge will come to us. It's just automatic. because he has all the knowledge. So if we are coming in association with Krishna through the bhakti process, then automatically we get knowledge. And what is that knowledge? The darkness of ignorance is removed from our heart. And what is that ignorance? That I am the body, that I am separate from Krishna. That is the ignorance. He confirms this in the Bhagavad Gita 10.10. Tesam satata yuktanam vajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Empiric philosophical speculation cannot give one relief from the threefold miseries of material existence. Simply to endeavor for knowledge without devoting oneself to the Lord is a waste of valuable time. And so that's why everyone is encouraged to give up all other processes of speculation, of yoga, and take up the bhakti process, because it is the shortest, the simplest, and the fastest way to achieve transcendence, to understand the absolute truth. Is that okay?
Yes.
Are they also trying to tell us the importance of the lotus feet of Krishna also in these two?
It is. That's what.
Right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And we should take shelter. Till the time we do not come to the point of surrender to Krishna, till that time we cannot get liberation. Although we might think we are liberated. That's why the first verse that we read here, that for them, they may artificially think of becoming liberated without accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. But that is not possible. One is sure to fall again to material existence from such liberation, even though one may have undergone severe penances and austerities. So even though, because the whole world, all of us, we are saying that we want to get liberated and we want to merge into the Brahma Jyoti. So if, in spite of reaching the Brahma Jyoti, which is very difficult, it's not easy to go into the Brahma Jyoti, very, very difficult. In spite of reaching them, if one does not accept the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, one does not surrender to Krishna, one does not accept Krishna, that, my dear Krishna, you are greater than me. Till the point we don't come to there, we will again come back to this material world. So there is no way. And then Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita, that amongst thousands and thousands of such people who are trying to gain knowledge, one might surrender unto me. And out of thousands of such, one will achieve perfection. And so it's the path of knowledge is a very difficult process, but one has to come to the point of surrendering to Krishna. Then it depends on us. We want to surrender to Krishna in this life or in future lives. The choice is ours. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes.
So text 41. Marganti yatte mukhapadmanides chanda suparne rashayo vivikte yasya gamarsho dasarit varaya padam padam tirtha pada prapanaha. The lotus feet of the Lord are by themselves the shelter of all places of pilgrimage. The great clear-minded sages, carried by the wings of the Vedas, always search after the nest of your lotus-like face. Some of them surrender to your lotus feet at every step by taking shelter of the best of rivers, the Ganges, which can deliver one from all sinful reactions. So the Paramhamsas are compared to royal swans who make their nests on the petals of the lotus flower. The Lord's transcendental bodily parts are always compared to the lotus flower because in the material world, the lotus flower is the last word in beauty. So in the material world, because for us to understand, because if something is vague, we won't be able to understand. No, we always experience things by looking, by hearing. So for us, how to make us understand how beautiful is the Lord? So his bodily parts always compared to the lotus, because in the material world, we have experienced that the most beautiful is the lotus. So that's why Krishna's eyes are called lotus eyes, lotus feet, lotus-shaped navel, like Kunti Devi in her prayers, how she's describing the different parts of Krishna's body and comparing it to the lotus. So the most beautiful thing in the world is the Vedas or Bhagavad Gita, because therein knowledge is imparted by the personality of Godhead himself. The Paramhamsa makes his nest in the lotus-like face of the Lord and always seeks shelter at his lotus feet, which are reached by the wings of Vedic wisdom. So the essence of all the Vedas, the Vedas are very, very vast. If we were to do research and study all the Vedas, it would take us lifetimes and lifetimes. But the essence, what is all so much knowledge trying to tell us? That take the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. And that turn your face towards the Lord. Don't turn your face away from the Lord. And the pure devotees, the Paramhamsas, they actually do this. So a Paramhamsa is not just a title which is given to somebody, but is someone who is who's taken complete shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna, and who's always looking towards Krishna, not turning his face away from Krishna. Means always his words, his actions, and his mind, his thoughts are always for the pleasure of Krishna. Since the Lord is the original source of all emanations, intelligent persons, enlightened by Vedic knowledge, seek the shelter of the Lord, just as birds who leave the nest again search out the nest to take complete rest. So the only way that our mind can get rest is at the lotus feet of Krishna. Once we fix our mind at the lotus feet of Krishna, then the mind will automatically get its complete shelter, because there's no truth greater than Krishna. Sorry, he's the ultimate truth. All Vedic knowledge is meant for understanding the Supreme Lord, as stated by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita 15.15. Vedescha sarver aham eva vedaya. Intelligent persons who are like swans take shelter of the Lord by all means and do not hover on the mental plane by fruitlessly speculating on different philosophies. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text 15, Vedescha sarvar aham eva vedaya. Vedanta krit vedavid. That what's the essence of the Vedas? Vedas is knowledge. And what's the essence of the knowledge? All this knowledge is surrender to the Supreme Lord. That's the essence. And so the intelligent persons, the Paramhamsas, what do? They take shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord. They don't want to, they know that it's a waste of time for me to try to find other ways of liberation, trying to find other ways of happiness, trying to find other ways of self-realization. This is the way, because all the Vedas are telling me to do this. The Lord is so kind that he has spread the river Ganges throughout the universe, so that by taking bath in that holy river, everyone can get release from the reactions of sins which occur at every step. So we might think that Ganges all over the universe. Yeah, because the Ganges is not only here on this, flowing on this earth, she flows even on the other planets. And so he's making these arrangements for us that, that we will get sinful, then go take a bath in the river. and then we can get purified. There are many rivers in the world which are able to evoke one's sense of God consciousness simply by one's bathing in them. And the river Ganges is chief amongst them. In India, there are 5 sacred rivers, but this Ganges is the most sacred. The river Ganges and Bhagavad Gita are chief sources of transcendental happiness for mankind, and intelligent persons can take shelter of them to go back home, back to Godhead. Even Sripad Shankaracharya recommends that a little knowledge in Bhagavad Gita and the drinking of a little quantity of Ganges water can save one from the punishment of Yamaraj. So Sripad Shankaracharya, he's the propounder of the Mayavad philosophy, the Advaita philosophy. And what does he say? He's saying, take shelter of the Bhagavad Gita. You know, but it's very sad that his followers don't follow his instruction. He says, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Mudamate. Take shelter of the lotus feet of Govinda. So Krishna is kind. He keeps making these arrangements for us so that our sins can be reduced. We can become peaceful and happy in this life and come back to him after we give up this body. It's just our desire is so strong to stay away from him. That is what is the delay in. That's all. The delay is not from the part of Krishna, just the delay is on the part of our desire. Is that okay?
Yes.
For comments? Anything to add? Share? No?
No.
Then we could stop here for today since it's almost time.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much for joining in. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So we can see how the Bhagavatam is trying to remove all the doubts from our mind, because these doubts are there in each of us. And how Bhagavatam gradually is trying to remove all these demons of doubts from our mind and help us to take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, help us to realize, oh, there is nothing else out there, you know. You might go on searching for millions of lifetimes, but till the time you don't come to the point of Krishna, you'll still be here in the material world. And trying to explain to us the supermost excellent position of Krishna, that he is the absolute truth. So yeah, so we'll just stop here.
Shilpa, sorry, just wanted to ask you, when they say that take shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna, the Lord, does it really literally mean shelter in the feet of Krishna, or is just taking shelter of Krishna? It's
So we can meditate.
right. Like, see, my time, like for me, I concentrate on the image, on his Krishna's image, the face. So yeah. So
the devotees also concentrate on the lotus feet of Krishna. So there, you know, there are different marks on the lotus feet of Krishna. There is the chakra, there is the lotus flower, there is the elephant goat. So we can actually concentrate on those, and those are very, very purifying.
What do you do?
Uh,
How do you?
Try to concentrate on the lotus feet of Krishna. Sometimes it's very difficult to focus the mind on the lotus feet of Krishna for me.
That's it. Like for me, I just I see the image, no? This image, the smiling image.
But at least for once in a day, I try to do that. Try to, you know, focus on each part of the, each symbol which is there on the lotus feet of Krishna.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can, it's there on the internet, you can see what are the different symbols, and then you can try to focus on those. And those are really purifying. Very, yeah. So what it means to take shelter of the lotus feet, like all the devotees are all wondering, what is there in the lotus feet of Krishna? Let me also see. And Krishna himself wants to see what's in my lotus feet. And that's why he sucks his thumb. I don't know if you have seen the photo. The baby Krishna,
Yeah,
at the time
right.
of Pralaya on the banyan tree, on a
Yeah.
banyan leaf, he's sucking his thumb. He's saying, I want to know what's the nectar of my lotus feet, you know. So the
Oh.
devotees are all going crazy by taking shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. So yeah, we should try to take shelter of his lotus feet, face. Anyway, the meditation to see the deity should always start from the feet, and then
Yeah,
go to the thighs, and then finally to the lotus face.
right. Like when we do the aarti, also we start with the
Feet.
feet, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the way we approach the Lord.
Mm.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.